Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. On this channel we're talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. This video I want to talk about how the narcissist rushes you into a trap. That's exactly what they do, by the way. Now, the narcissist, like I said yesterday, is scanning you. If you ever seen the narcissistic stare, that's different to the smirk. They're like a scanning machine. They are literally picking up on your clues. They work in the psychic and telepathic realms a lot, which is why when you leave them, you'll feel it in the psychic energy. You'll feel yourself thinking about them. It's why when you start rethinking about them, you don't think about the terrible things that you put them through. You think about the projection of them in the love bomb stage and this ridiculous idea that they are trying to trick you with that they could have changed. Now, the rushing. One of the things I teach you in Sovereign is coming home to yourself. You may never have come properly home to yourself to really understand what your value standards and boundaries are and what they mean in different contexts. I help you do some work on that, right? Without that clarity, you can easily get kind of sucked into things. Doesn't feel quite right, but you weren't really sure, so you didn't know what to say yes to, you didn't know what to say no to. Guys, sorry my dogs, many of us have also grown up in unhealthy environments. I grew up in a narcissistic household, so you know it's been normalized to us, right? Toxic behavior a lot of the time, so we don't necessarily know how to navigate it. We've been taught to kind of just be passive around it. The problem is, right, the narcissist knows the minute that you're going to wake up, that you're going to question things, that you're going to smell a rat. And so they're going to rush you. What does rushing you look like? Sweeping you up in the love bomb before you've had a decision. You consenting to letting them come and fix your pipes, and all of a sudden they're staying for the weekend. Sex, fast. Now, that's an issue. It's not a judgment on how fast you sleep with someone. There's a problem with it. For women, when you have sex, you're going to release chemicals, oxytocin. You're not going to think straight, especially if your oxytocin levels, which is a chemical thing in your body, was low. Men don't have oxytocin, but they can also get very love trapped, enchanted sexually, you know, and certain women narcissists know exactly how to manipulate you, hook you, and enchant you sexually, make them into your fantasy, right? For women, you want to take your time if you're not sure about someone and get to know someone, because if you don't, and especially if you've got low oxytocin levels, you're going to literally not be able to think straight, because you're going to release chemicals that don't make you think straight. People say, oh, why do women get so attached after sex? Because they're chemically wired to. And if they're low on oxytocin, it's going to make it even worse. For men, it's not the same response. You don't have oxytocin, but you can be hooked in that way that can be very compelling from a woman. It's not the same chemical response though. Your logical brain will work better than someone who's just been flooded with oxytocin, that's for sure. But the narcissist will pull you psychically. So one way is sex, which is a reason why you've got to think about that, because that is going to change your chemistry. One way is things that seem romantic, but you know they don't really feel quite right. They might try and get you involved with their family and their friends. They want to show you the illusion of how well set up they are, what a happy family they have. It's all an illusion with a narcissist. As you get deeper, often these things are not what they seem. But they'll introduce you to people. It's all a setup. Things that are just a bit too soon, right? They'll you, language. Oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could da-da-da, way before there's an established relationship. I knew a narcissist out here, the we language. Now, at the time, I was kind of touched by it. I thought, oh, that's so sweet that he sees me in his life in that way. No, he was a master manipulator. I found out he used to run a cult. He sent some dark wizard to put voodoo spells on me. I mean, no, it wasn't romantic, it wasn't nice, it was calculated, and he knew how to manipulate people. So, you know when someone's saying something and they're assuming you're in it, but they haven't let you consent, like I teach you all the time. Narcissists invade your free will and your consent, your intentional consent. But the problem is your spiritual connection only kicks in when you're not consenting. So although you haven't meant to consent, as soon as you open the door to them, let them in your life, you are spiritually consenting. Part of your free will is to choose. You've got to kick them out if you don't want to be part of this dynamic. Now, are there going to be narcissists in some of your relationships as you're healing this that you have to deal with? Yes, in work situations, often in certain dynamics. But your job is to have very firm boundaries, with those people as you learn to create a life that doesn't involve any of this toxicity. So when you're being rushed, this is one thing, don't romanticize it. Don't romanticize being rushed, because being rushed, when your emotions are high, your intelligence doesn't work, your logic doesn't work in the same way. So the reason they're going to do it is so that you don't think it through. You don't think it through. So what you want to do is, although you might be excited or, it seems like, oh my gosh, yes, still take a moment to pause. This pause is so important to you. If they are triggering you and you can pause, go to the bathroom, go out on your bike, do something before you come back and react, the better. The less likely they are to trauma bond you. If something sounds really good and you can just use these words, that sounds great, let me think about it. Let me think about it. If you can do that more, if someone's trying to get you into bed and you like them, you're not wanting to hurt the relationship, but you're not ready yet, just say, I'm really attracted to you, but you're moving too fast for me right now. One day that will be me, I think, but not tonight. I move a little bit slower than that. Let me think about it. These are your first response. Then when you're regulated, you can decide how you really feel and tune into your body, not the emotional charge they're putting you under. So the more we can create spaces, like a lot of us want to rush into things because we're in so much lack in our lives, or we're feeling lonely, or we're looking for someone to fill gaps, right? And that's part of the human experience, but one that we've got to be much more mindful of, because when we're feeling lonely or unloved or unconnected, these are all human needs, right? The need for love, the need for connection, these are healthy things. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm so sick of hearing people telling people like, you are so wounded because you want love. You are so wounded because you crave a soulmate. These are the natural things on the planet that are meant for you. That's not just because you're wounded, it's because you're human and there are needs, human needs, right? But we haven't been taught how to create these things safely. And when we're in a feeling, an emotion, a feeling, not, a feeling of lack, we can try and fill those gaps with unhealthy people because we're not able to process our emotions. So again, if you can get into Sovereign for Monday, do, because that's about how do you regulate your emotions so that you can make good decisions. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel lonely sometimes. It means that you're going to look at your life and still be clear and not just fill those gaps with people who are unhealthy for you. You're going to go, okay, I am lonely. What's that showing me? What's the desire behind it? Because all of our emotions are messengers. When I'm lonely, that means, I've got to actually put some more connection in my life, some more human connection. Cool. What do I want to do about it? Do I want to join a club? What do I want to do about it? But what we want to do is react. And the next person that we see, cling on to without any discernment, right? Just because we're lonely. And then we find out that we're being drained because our energy is being drained out of us by people who are actually just draining us, right? So our need for connection is being met on one level, but it's costing us our energy rather than actually a connection that would be a win-win where we'd feel excited and expanded, right? If you're able to sit with the emotion of loneliness and understand it's a messenger, I just want to be with someone. That's healthy. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm not going to let the loneliness trick me into just filling it with anything. And I'm not going to make this decision that some people make, because I hear it all the time, which is like, I will just be alone. Don't play God in your life in that way. Let God surprise you. Get yourself as healthy and as sovereign as possible. Trust your desires and trust your emotions, but learn how to navigate this so that you are not rushed. A sovereign being is not rushed. You are the emperor and empress of your life, which means that you are seeing what is presented to you and choosing. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, that's good. Yes, I'm going to go with. No, throw out. Maybe I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. That's a maybe for me. I'm not sure about that person. I'm not sure about that job. I'm not sure yet. Let them show me who they are. Instead of me assuming because I'm so like, oh, I want them to be this. I'm making those assumptions and projecting them on them. And then I'm realizing later down the line, who on earth am I dealing with, right? When it's a definite yes, sometimes that is from our patterns and our wounds. So like just check, like, am I rushing something because it feels familiar? When you've been in toxic cycles, abuse feels familiar to the brain, and the brain just goes yes to what it knows. It doesn't, anything that is unknown feels kind of fearful and unsafe to the brain. So we have to condition our brain to get used to healthy relationships, yeah? And not just repeat the old patterns. It's simpler than it sounds, because when you're sovereign, you're already set up to win. Your compass is on. Your sat nav is on such a different direction that like you don't go off course as easily. So if you can get into sovereign, do. Link will be in the description. But hear what I'm saying here. This isn't about judging yourself and doing things right and wrong. It's not about making yourself wrong for having normal human emotions. It's about understanding that you've got to be conscious in your life to be safer, which means more mindful, more aware, and not as reactive. These gaps, it doesn't have to take long, but these pause moments, because anything that's meant for you isn't just going to go away. Yeah? Sometimes we're trying to like rush because we don't want to lose things. Again, anything you could lose that easy probably isn't that great for you anyway. You know what I mean? So like when people are rushing you, when your emotions are high, you need to regulate before you make a decision there, right? And everything in life is just a series of decisions. Every day we've got a whole load of choices. How many cookies do I eat today? I've eaten a whole lot. Okay, am I going to be mean to myself, or am I going to self-partner, right? Am I going to tell myself my whole life is over and I can never get past the cookie problem? Or am I going to go, okay, I see it, and I'm going to do better, and I'm going to reset, and I'm going to think again. And the more regulated I am, the less likely I'll just binge the cookies. The cookies are a metaphor, but you'll see what I mean. All right, my loves, lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.